Canelo Alvarez fighting Rocky Field. Now they're trying to decide what network or station will show the fight in the United States. Stay tuned. Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working now. I did a video earlier. Canelo Alvarez, he announced it first himself that he was going to be fighting December 15th. Shocked a lot of people because he stated he's moving up to 168 pounds for his next fight. He's currently fighting at middleweight, or his last two fights with Golovkin were at middleweight. He beat Golovkin in the last fight, became a champion, so he's the guy at middleweight with the most belts in his possession, in his collection. And out of nowhere, he says and announces on his verified social media that he's going up to 168 super middleweight to challenge a WBA regular champion, Rocky Fielding. So right now they're deciding, and Eddie Hearn says they're in the running for airing the fight on Dazn. HBO said they're willing to air another fight, even though they're getting out of the boxing business and focusing on their other programming, original series and documentaries, comedy specials and stuff like that. They're not going to, in 2019, be focused on boxing and having like a monthly boxing schedule. I've already talked about that. Check those videos on the channel. So Canelo, he's a free agent. He has some options here. He can do as he wants, whatever's the most lucrative. In my opinion, and I don't manage Canelo, so it's not really my decision, but in my opinion, I think whoever he teams up with next should be his, future home. Like, he should, instead of, like, I would be looking for who I want to be with long term, instead of having like HBO do this last fight and then HBO's not going to be around to air my other fights, or, have to renegotiate on a case by case. He should decide if he's going to be on ESPN, ESPN Plus, Dazn, if he's going over to Showtime. That's what I would be doing. But, it's Golden Boy and Canelo's decision. They've been working with HBO, so maybe HBO might be the easiest to do because HBO showed an interest. He's the biggest star in boxing, when Floyd's not fighting. So, I can see why HBO, they're guaranteed to get some money back from it. So that's why they would be considering doing that and airing a Canelo fight one last hurrah. A lot of people are saying that Canelo did this and that and are angry with this fight. I'm not really mad at it, like I said, because I'm realistic, new media. I try to be as, objective as possible. And fact is, he just fought the #1 middleweight in the division twice. Had 2 wars, 2 good fights with them, and he beat him in the second fight. So I think he can really decide what he wants to do for his next fight. But the goal should be to unify after that. And again, from a business perspective, it makes sense for him to want to be a 3-weight division champion. Pick on a guy that you think you have the best shot with at the higher division, then drop back down to 160, and then focus on what you're going to do next there. Daniel Jacobs, Derevyanchenko winner, Demetrius Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders, or of course Jermall Charlo. That's my honest opinion. Plus, the other thing that I was thinking of is the other rumored name for Canelo Alvarez that a lot of people, including me, thought would be for the December fight was David Lemieux. And David Lemieux, he's strong. He's coming off a first-round knockout on a Canelo undercard of Spike O'Sullivan. But David Lemieux has at least 3 losses, and he has a lot of power, but he showed you can outbox him. So as far as I'm concerned, if that was the fight for December, yeah, maybe it could be some action fight, but how meaningful is that? How meaningful is it if Canelo, the only way to me it really is super meaningful is if David Lemieux were to win, and I don't think he would be the favorite in that equation because, again, we've seen more vulnerabilities with David Lemieux's style. I mean, if he catches you clean and you have a shootout with him, then you're in trouble. But again, David Lemieux, I don't think he has faster hands than Canelo. Plus, Canelo's a smart fighter. He's more of a boxer puncher and a counter puncher. So, you know, I don't see him fighting like Curtis Stevens or Gary Spike O'Sullivan, where he's going to come. I mean, because even despite all the Golovkin banter and trash talk leading into the rematch and them calling him a drug cheat and these things that pissed him off, Canelo, he fought intelligently. He was mindful of his defense and stuff. So, you know, that's the other option that people were talking about. So, I mean, how much is better is that than Rocky Fielding? The only difference is, like I said, it could be a good action fight, and David Lemieux probably has a bigger name in the States. But to me, again, David Lemieux as a fight, I don't really care about that versus Canelo, because I don't think it doesn't mean as much, you know. But at least you go here, you have your voluntary fight with Rocky Fielding, and then now you can say you're a 3-weight division champion, drop back down to 160 and handle business. So it'll be interesting to see where this lands. I will give you guys an update as soon as those things are hashed out and the information becomes available. Let me know what you guys think. Are you angry at Canelo for taking this? Do you think he's ducking Charlo? The other guys, except for Charlo, that's the other thing too that people have to be realistic with. Everybody else is kind of tied up, you know, with late October-ish type of fights. Derevyanchenko, Daniel Jacobs, right? They all fighting in October, November. Billy Joe Saunders, possibly, depending on what happens with his drug test, but he's still facing a hearing based on failing a drug test. Demetrius Andrade. So really all those guys wouldn't be realistic to fight mid-December, because that means they would have to fight and then instantly get into a training camp, and you know, it just would be little time to prepare. So Jermall Charlo's the only one, and him on his own Twitter, he says he's already fighting in December. So I don't know if they're putting him on the Wilder card. I don't know if they're still doing that Houston card. So, you know, it just didn't seem likely that Canelo was going to fight Charlo in December. So, you know, there's no real rush to do it in December, coming off of 2 tough fights. But obviously that should be the goal. If you get past a Rocky Fielding, you know, you should drop back down. And I don't see him staying up there. There's too many guys that are just way bigger than Canelo. You know, he'd be giving up a lot of weight advantage. So, I mean, I don't see him staying up and trying to unify with David Benavidez and Jose Uzcategui and Caleb Smith and Caleb Plant. And I don't know. I can't see that. So I think he's doing this, trying to expand his horizons, step out of his comfort zone a little bit, go fight on the East Coast, which he's really been a West Coast fighter, or fighting in Texas. And, you know, he's looking at it as a stay ready, stay busy type of fight. Plus, I do think that he could be fighting this type of fight, you know, which is considered lower risk and he's tall, so, you know, to work on some things coming off of 2 wars, to maybe prepare for the Daniel Jacobs of the world and the Jermall Charlos of the world, you know, or even a Golovkin trilogy. You know, take a fight like this, lower tier, you know, than those guys, and see how you feel at this added weight, see how you deal with the taller fighter, because you could practice more of what you learn in camp when the threat isn't Charlo. You know, you're gonna have to be just dialed in and switched on if you're fighting Daniel Jacobs or Charlo. You can't make no mistakes. But again, against a Fielding, he might not be able to capitalize. He doesn't have the big fight experience that Jacobs has. So that's my 2 cents. We're still waiting to see where Canelo lands. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.